I have a great one for you today. You're not going to believe where I am. I'm in the frozen tundra. There's Big Orange. There's a museum. You'll understand in a minute. You're never going to guess who I caught up with. Check this out. So am I hearing this right? The guy that called himself DIY Semi didn't know anything about trucks?
Well, yeah, exactly.
So I got the rare opportunity to come to the compound and meet up with DIY Semi. Wanted to find out more about him. Do you mind if I call you Adam?
Call me whatever you want to call me.
All right. So just thought I'd like to get to know you a little bit better, and I think they would too. Your childhood, maybe. Where'd you come from?
I grew up about 60 miles from where I'm at now on a dairy farm,
On a dairy farm.
milking cows and doing field work and all that kind of stuff. So trucking was kind of a natural progression, I guess. I think a lot of people come from farming into trucking.
All right. Now, was trucking your first option, or was farming your first option?
I worked in a in my teenage years, I guess I did working in some restaurants and then in a factory. And then once I decided, hey, working around other people kind of sucks sometimes. I think I'll go be by myself and go to driving school and go trucking.
Did you think about being a trucker before that, or did it
Never
just kind
considered
of
it.
occur?
Didn't even dawn on me that it was like something you could do.
Hmm.
I just never really paid attention to trucks. I didn't know anybody that drove a truck. Um, I don't even know how I came to that decision other than I thought, hey, this is a job where nobody's going to bother me, you know, day to day.
And now you're on social media.
Yeah. There you go.
So, did you ever think about going into farming, since that's where you started?
Yeah, I always thought I would, but just things being what they were, situation, family, and all that, just decided it wasn't for me.
Yeah. Well, some of it stayed with you. You guys can't see on the other side of the camera, but there's some really beautiful tractors.
In a museum.
Yes.
It's the messiest museum you'll ever see in your life, but we've it's a art. We've combined trucking and tractors into this. Everything here is artistically placed.
Oh, we have tractors out there. We have tractors in here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I see most of them are farmhouse. Is that your favorite, I'm guessing?
I'm kind of partial to them, and actually my favorite is probably Minneapolis Moline or Alice Chalmers. I don't have any Alice Chalmers, but I got what I got 5 or 6 Minneapolis Molines back here.
Is that the yellow one?
That's the yellow ones, yeah.
Okay.
The green one's an Oliver. It's not a John Deere. We don't do John Deere around here.
No?
We're red. If it ain't red. If it ain't red, leave it in the shed.
You're not down with the deer?
Yeah, it's all right. They're good tractors, but there's like this ongoing feud.
Yeah, yeah. All right, and so then when did you get into trucking? Around what age, you think?
I was 23, I guess, right when it was, you go over the road, get your CDL.
23.
So that's been about 20, I think I'm in my 26th year right now. Yeah, 26 and a half, something like that. I don't know. I forget.
All right, and you went over the road immediately, or were you
Yep.
local?
No,
Over the road?
over the road from the beginning.
Company guy?
Yep. Just got lucky off the bat and ended up at a good family-owned company with about 300 trucks. And I think everybody else in my driving school class went to Swift. I was the only one that didn't go to Swift. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm glad nothing against Swift or anything, but I ended up at a really good place, which I don't know that everybody can say that.
Yeah. Well, statistically, I could be wrong, but I think Swift is statistically a safe company.
Oh yeah, safe. Nothing. No, I don't. Hey,
Sounds weird to say, doesn't
in
it?
a world where Amazon exists, Swift is probably the model of safety.
I can see that. So you went from company driver. At what point did you switch over right to getting your authority, or did you
No,
re-sign with somebody for a
I
while?
did the company thing for like 5 years, and then decided, you know what? I think I could do this for myself. And my first attempt was a train wreck. I didn't know, I knew much about trucks, like mechanically and stuff, and I bought a truck that was a pretty clapped out truck, and it lasted about 6 months, I think. And I'm like, you know what, this ain't gonna work.
So am I hearing this right? The guy that called himself DIY Semi didn't know anything about trucks?
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah. I knew about tractors and like farm equipment, and it does translate.
Is it? Okay.
I just, you know, I was dumb as a.
Well, you get wiser.
I'll admit it.
Yeah.
I wasn't the brightest kid.
So what was the key that made you think made that fail at first? What was the one thing that if you could go back and like that, I wish I knew this one thing.
Well, I guess wish I would have picked a better truck or had the knowledge to pick a better truck.
What kind of truck was it?
It was a was it 1996? No, 97 Peterbilt 377
Huh?
with a 3176 cat in it.
Just the best you could find at the time for the price, or you preferred Peterbilt at that point, or?
I thought it'd be cool to have a Peterbilt. Turns out, just wasn't very comfortable for me.
Yeah.
The sleeper was small, and I didn't hate it.
Is that the Colvin? The kind with the Colvin?
It wasn't a very big sleeper. Yeah,
No.
it was 48 inch. It was a little taller,
Yeah.
but yeah, it wasn't that comfortable for me.
From Peterbilt to Freightliners and Max, I see.
Yeah, mostly Freightliner. I think my next 4 trucks were all Freightliners, all Freightliner Columbias, which is kind of, I can't hate on them. They got me to where I am today, and they kind of made all this happen.
Yeah.
And then,
Big orange right there.
yeah, I just sold it. Somebody put money down on it. They didn't pick it up yet.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and then I had some Cascadias here, and I had bought a couple during COVID there when, you couldn't get trucks and stuff. I saw these Mack Pinnacles for sale. Pretty cheap. So got one of those and decided, you know what? Those are pretty decent trucks for the price you pay. So and then we ran a few of those, and 50-50. Some of them had problems, some of them didn't, but they weren't exactly comfortable over the road trucks. And then they came out with the Anthem, and I saw one. I'm like, someday I'm going to have an Anthem. And then I bought one, and then ended up buying a couple more. And I like them. I don't know. It's comfortable for me. You can't beat the price
Yeah.
or what you're getting. What you're getting for the dollars you're paying.
So now as a business owner, I'm going to ask you the question, fuel economy or price of the truck? Like, because
Well-
obviously with Mac, you're giving up a little bit of fuel economy, but the price of the truck is lower. So
Yeah, so that's one thing that changes when you're, one truck versus trying to kind of grow a fleet or whatever. It'll never be perfect. You can't have everything you want exactly. Sometimes things have to be good enough. And dollar for dollar, the Macs have been a really good decision. Would I want ideally to have every truck be a Mac in the fleet? No. The Cascadias have been probably ideal as far as the efficiency. But, when I can buy 3 Macs with lower mileage for the price I can of 2 Cascadias, the math kind of maths out, it works. And then you just kind of work towards your goal. They have a goal of, okay, I want to work towards a fleet of Kenworths or a fleet of Freightliners or whatever you want. I just realize you can never start at the top. You'll usually fail if you try to start at the top. I think that's why a lot of mega carrier lease purchases don't work. You're trying to start with a brand new truck, and I feel like you get in where you fit in and then work your way up.
that makes sense. That makes sense. Well, we kind of jumped ahead there for a second, so I'm going to go back again. So you went as an owner operator and you failed, you said. So then you went back to company?
I went back to company for a couple of years, and then I'm like, you know what? Instead of somebody told me, like, it was a family member, serves you right. You hope you learned your lesson. I kind of put my tail between my legs and like, yeah, they were right. And then I just got thinking one day, you know what? I can just accept that, or I can learn from what I did and not make those mistakes again and do better next time. So I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to do it. So I went and did it the second time, and I never looked back. It just, I did a lot of things different and decided I was going to make it and decided I was going to educate myself and just go do it. And then I just went and did it.
So you were contracted on with somebody at that point?
The second time around, no. The second time,
You
I got
went
my
full
own
board
authority.
with your own authority. Okay. Wow. Wow.
which was a whole nother learning experience. I didn't know how to do that. And back then there was no YouTube, YouTube University to tell you how to do it. I just kind of had to figure it out. And first thing I did was went to my company job I was working and looked through the permit book, see what all the permits were, and figure out how to get them for myself. So
Now,
yeah.
truckers are not supposed to be all, feelings like, but were you scared going into that being an owner operator?
Oh yeah, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of stress, but stress motivates me or pushes me harder,
Okay.
which isn't always a good thing, but sometimes it is.
Yeah. Oh, that makes sense. That makes sense. All right, let's jump back to where we were earlier. So now you're running a fleet of trucks. You have a company that's you have a museum for your tractors and it's a compound behind me. So where do we go from here? Like, do you see adding more trucks on? Maybe?
I don't know. Over the last 4 years, we've grown and kind of just leveled off here for a minute. I feel like we're in a downturn and we're going to be here for a while, so it might be time to just be conservative and wait it out, see what happens. But also, keep doing smart things to be ready for the turnaround, whenever that should come. If it should come in 6 months or a year or 2 years, God forbid, hopefully it doesn't take that long. But it is what it is. It's out of my control. So we just keep on trying to do all the right things, and when the turn does come, we're ready for it.
Now, I'm going to ask you a question, and there's an obvious answer. I'd rather not have you give me the obvious answer.
Okay.
But is trucking going to fail? Is it on its way down?
It'll never go away, but for one thing's for sure, it's going to change. It's inevitable, and it's going to change. AI and all this stuff is coming, and autonomy is going to change the industry, but the real things that are going to change it probably haven't even been invented yet. We probably even haven't thought of them yet. So it's just wait and see, try to keep up. It's hard for a small guy to keep up. You have limited resources, but you can fight it or you can learn to adapt to it. But
Adapting.
we're not going to win. These new battles that are coming up aren't for the little guy to win. It's try to keep up and find your place, in the system that you can do and other people can't.
This one is kind of playing off of one of your videos that you made recently.
Oh, okay.
So what is the one thing, well, actually it's a two-part question. What is the one thing that can be changed when it comes to trucking as an international, like that affects American trucking?
Well, I mean, it is what it is. If we're being honest, it's there's a lot of foreign influence in trucking right now, and that people are taking a lot of shortcuts. There's a lot of fraud. There's a lot of disregard for the regulations. Whether you like them or not, I don't like most of the regulations and rules, but that doesn't change the fact that they exist and we're all supposed to follow them. There's a lot of shortcuts and non-compliance going on right now, and it's being tolerated largely by the government, and that makes it hard to do business on the up and up. But you just got to keep finding a way and plugging along and hoping that someday it'll make a difference. So you don't want to lower yourself to that level. Like they say, try to make it honest. If you can't make it honest, then you can still sleep at night. I couldn't sleep at night knowing I was doing the log resets and the no CDL and falsified this and that. I don't know how you'd get a moment's rest.
So to be clear, just so that no one misunderstands what you're saying, it doesn't matter that someone's coming over here as long as they come over legally, they follow the proper steps, they get trained properly. You support that?
No,
you just support the people doing it the wrong way.
Actually, I got a lot of respect and admiration for people that come from another country where maybe they don't speak the language or know the culture, and you come over here and successfully build a business the right way. You do things legally how you're supposed to, and you make the sacrifices and put the time in. I respect anybody that does that. That's very admirable. But if you're coming over here and just gaming the system every which way you can, I got no time for that, no respect for that. And I think that the best thing that people could do that came over here and did it the right way is try to hold these other people accountable. Hey man, I did it. I came over here. I worked night and day. I lived in the truck. I did this, and I made it. And you need to do it that way too, because otherwise it just cheapens, what you did. So
Right.
it's a struggle right now, and I don't know. There's a lot of proposed regulations out there. I think they're all probably going to fail. Arkansas let us down on their proposals, and
So you
we'll
don't
see.
think a $500 fine is enough?
What did it solve the problem?
I was kind of sarcastic.
Yeah. No, I think that, and a lot of things come to light when you start looking into this. Some people are, well, I hold the companies responsible. The driver's trying to make his way and do his thing. The companies got to be held accountable. They're the ones with the pockets, and they're the ones that are ultimately responsible for following the regulations.
Yeah. Now, taking that issue out of trucking,
Yeah.
if we got rid of that issue, what is the biggest issue in domestic American trucking right now?
Well, I mean,
Taking that one out of.
trade is in a bad place right now. Everybody's, all they talk about is the tariffs and this and that, and it's going to hurt trade. It's the bottom line, whether you agree with it or disagree with it. The fact of the matter is it's going to hurt trade for a while, and then if it works, trade will turn around. We'll have imports and exports, and if it doesn't work, then we'll have more of the same like this for a while. And even if it does work, it's going to take some time. Like, these things don't happen overnight. We have some more pain coming first, and it's going to be like this for a little while. So, whatever side of the aisle you fall on, either way, at least for a little while, it's going to be tough. So, time will tell.
All right, yeah. I'm sorry, one more bonus question I just thought of. I got to ask you. So you've been driving 26 years. Compared to drivers that come in today, if there's one thing that you could teach a new driver today to do that none of them know how to do, what would that one thing be?
Learn to read a gosh dang atlas and use
They
it.
know.
And use it. One more person tells me my GPS told me to do this or that, boy, I like to smack them. Your GPS ain't your boss. You got to learn your way around. GPS's automated transmissions and ELDs really had a significant change on this industry, and in some ways for the better. In a lot of ways, if you got a GPS telling you what to do every day, do you take the time to learn your way around? Do you get your atlas out and look for low clearances? Most people even know what the orange lines on an atlas, motor carrier atlas, mean, or designated truck routes, stuff like that. You see trucks in the funniest places doing things they aren't supposed to do all the time now, just due to a GPS. It's I don't know. It's weird.
Yeah. All right. Well, as I'm sitting here and look out across a couple of the trucks that you have sitting here, so 10 years from now, what are you planning on being?
Well, I hope I'm still alive, and I don't know. Hopefully retired by then. And not necessarily from trucking. I've been trying to work towards that my whole life, and if I did things right, I could probably ride off into the sunset here pretty soon. But I don't think that's in the cards here. But I don't know. I don't really make plans like that. I just kind of, whatever happens. Maybe I'm back in the truck. Maybe I'm in the office, not handling the day-to-day anymore. Somebody else is doing it, or maybe I'm just working on trucks. I don't know. The only thing I hope for is that I'm doing what I want to do, not what I have to do. That's the best I can hope for.
There you go. Well, I appreciate you sitting down and chatting with us and allowing us to come to your compound here. So, guys, if you haven't done that yet, go down and subscribe. Go check out DIY Assembly on YouTube. You on Facebook and TikTok?
Not so much. I do have a Facebook, but no TikTok. I had a TikTok, but
I think you're still there.
yeah, but if you're not a pretty little girl shaking your butt, you're not gonna get anywhere.
Wait a minute. I got like 11,000 followers on TikTok.
Yeah,
I don't
you
check my
gotta,
life.
you gotta have like millions to do anything on there.
I get it. I get it. Go check them out on all the social media. But make sure you check them out on YouTube. And you guys have yourself a wonderful rest of your day. And always remember, truckers are people too. See you on the next one.
Are they though? Are they really? The ones that poop in a bag and throw it on the ground?
I didn't say they're good people.
Oh.
I said they're people.
It's true.